Yeah, yeah. That's good. Yeah. Okay, any questions or anything? I just want to, now we're sort of approaching the mid part of the course, this is week 4. Just to let you know about the calendar, if you look at the calendar. So we have, we're going to give out homework 4 on Thursday, and it'll be due a week from then. Then we'll give out homework 5, and that's not handed in, that's just for review. And then the midterm is 2 weeks after that. So we have the midterm in 2 weeks and 2 days. Okay? So if you want to start preparing, what I recommend is just looking at all the old, you can look at the old, and under the homework, under the handout archive links, so you can see lots and lots and lots of old midterms. And like, there's like over 12 or 13 of these things. So you can just do them, and, you can even practice, time yourself there all for an hour and 15 minutes. So just figure out 15 minutes. Some of the material we haven't quite covered yet, but in the week we'll cover it all. Any questions about the homework or anything? For Thursday's homework? Any questions, administratively? Okay, let's just go through the, kind of a little review of what we did. Any questions? You guys are okay with mixed strategies? Mixed strategy next year? Okay. So what do we do? Ready? Okay. Why do we do mixed strategy Nash equilibrium at all? Why do we even do this? Yeah, sometimes there's no Nash equilibrium, like in this complicated situation, right? It's this kind of cyclicity. You'll go east, therefore I'll go west, therefore you go west, blah, 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 etc. You have this kind of thing right here. If the keeper goes east, the striker wants to go west, and the keeper wants to go west, etc. So then, what's the obvious thing you should consider? In a penalty situation, what actually happens? Randomization, right? People on random. Right? Okay, so what we did is we considered this 50-50 strategy, we added it in. And then the next step was, how do we fill in the payoffs? How do you fill in the payoffs here? You have this whole little interlude, and the name of it is expected blank. What is that? Expected value, expected payoff. So we did this whole thing about expected value. Okay, we talked about probability. Expected value is simply the probability of something times the payoff of that thing, added up over everything. So for example, if I put a chip on red, I'll get $2 with 18 over 38 probability, $0 and 20 over 38. I just add it all up. Okay, so we did this last time. So then we know how to calculate expected utilities, and then we calculated this. So in this game, what is the Nash equilibrium? Do you see it? We can start with pluses. What's the Nash equilibrium in this case? Yeah. Well, it's not 0.5 because there's lots of 0.5s. It's like 50-50, right? Keeper goes 50-50, striker goes 50-50. And I think this is pretty close to what we see in real life, so it's pretty reasonable. Okay? All right. So we found this. Okay. So the next step is like, well, how do we know we just didn't get lucky by putting the 50-50 in? How do we solve this for all games? In other words, how do we include all possible randomized strategies? Okay. And so what we did was this. We did P's and Q's. Instead of doing 50-50, we used a little variable. This is the most complicated math we'll do in this class, by the way. Won't get more complicated than this. So then we did this box diagram. Here we're saying that you can think of a large spreadsheet, and I actually did the spreadsheet at home this time, so I'll show you in a second. So how do we fill in all the payoffs to which work? We're not going to do that. We just do what? What do we fill in instead? The stars and pluses, exactly, the best and responses. We don't talk with the numbers, we just do the stars and pluses. Okay, so we just do the best responses, we do this whole little thing. Okay. If the striker goes east all the time, then the keeper wants to go east. This is the keeper's best response, the stars. So the striker goes east, out of all these numbers, the best one for the keeper is that one. If the striker goes west, the keeper wants to go west all the time. And then we do this thing, well, the striker goes east most of the time, still the keeper wants to go east most of the time. When is the keeper exactly indifferent between going east and west? That is, when does the keeper switch over between going east and west? When the striker does what? Yeah, it's 0.5, right? This is exactly 50-50. That's what we call the switchover probability. And similarly for the keeper, similarly for the striker's best response. When the keeper does exactly 0.5, that's when the striker best response can be anything. Okay, so we have this, and then the Nash equilibrium simply the intersection of those two things. Remember this? Okay. Then we just did a sort of arbitrary example, okay, like this. There's no Nash equilibrium, no pure Nash equilibrium in this game. So we set up the P's and Q's. Okay. And then we do this little diagram. Now the math is slightly different. Okay, we do this. We solve for Q. So what is this? This is the math you have to do. You find the switchover probability for person 1. Okay. If I play 1A, here's my original game to play. So where's my Q? So number 2 is playing A with probability Q, B with probability 1 minus Q. So if I play A, I get 4 with what probability? Q, right? Remember, we're saying that person 2 plays A with probability Q, B with probability 1 minus Q. Yeah? So if I play A, I get 4 with probability Q, and I get 0 with probability 1 minus Q. Right? So solve for this metric. We say my expected utility for playing A is going to be 4Q plus 0 times 1 minus Q. What's my expected utility from playing B? Well, again, on person 1, I get 1 sometimes and 6 sometimes. I get 1 with what probability? Q, right? I get 6 with what probability? 1 minus Q. Okay. So at what Q do I switch over from playing A to B on person 1? At what Q? Yeah, how do I find that? I set them equal. Yeah? Remember that? Talked about that? Okay. Another way to think about it is when Q is 1, which is bigger, this one or this one? When Q is 1, which is bigger, top or bottom? Top, right? Yeah. When Q is 1, this is 4. When Q is 1, this is 0. Sorry, this is 1, right? 4 and 1. When Q is 1, the top is bigger. When Q is 0, which is bigger, top or bottom? Bottom, right? So when does a Q switch over exactly? When they're exactly equal. Yeah? Okay, so do you want me to do the math again? Yeah? Okay, so this is going to be equal to 4Q, right? And this is, if I simplify it, this is just 6 plus 6 minus 6Q. So send them equal to each other. 4Q equals Q plus 6Q. And this is going to be 4Q equals 6 minus 5Q. So 9Q equals 6. Q equals 2/3. Okay? Okay. All right. Okay. All right. That's what we get for Q. Switch over for Q. So I do this math again. Q equals 2/3. Okay. How about the switch over for person? So that's my Q equals 2/3. What's my switch over for person 2 now? All right, let's go back to the game again. Whoops. Here we go. So what's expected utility? Now I'm trying to think about when person 2 switches over. When person 2 plays A, what's person 2's expected payoff? Okay, so 2A, she gets what? She plays 2A, she gets sometimes 0 and sometimes 7, right? She gets 0 with what probability? P, right? Oops, did it with P? Okay, she gets 0 with probability P. And then she gets 7 with what probability? What's your expected utility from playing B?
7.
Oh, is it 7?
Oh, wait, sorry.
it's she gets what? 3 or 2, right? She gets 3 with what probability? P, and 2 with what probability? 1 minus P. So it's, she gets 3 with probability P, and 2 with probability 1 minus P. When does person 2 switch over? Yeah, set them equal, exactly. Okay, so we set them equal. Okay, so I get, this is just 7 minus 7p is equal to 3p. It's 2 minus 2p. 7 minus 7p. 2 minus 2p. Let's see, so it's just, I'm going to put this on this side. 5 equals 8p maybe? Equals 5. You guys okay with that? Let's see if that corresponds to what I did before. Okay, that's my Q over there. Okay. So I set 7 minus 7p equals that, just Q. And I get P equals 5. Okay, this is what we did last time. All right. Okay, so we have this picture and we have a Nash equilibrium. Oh, I should emphasize this. It's good to write the Nash equilibrium out in its full sentence, not just write P equals something, Q equals something, because when you write it this way, then it's clear what's going on. So this is my pure Nash equilibrium, sorry, my mixed strategy Nash equilibrium. P was 5/8, so 5/8 is in here. This is 1 minus P, so that's Q is 2/3, so it's 2/3 here. 1 minus Q is 5. So again, in this mixed strategy Nash equilibrium, one place A with probably 5/8, place B with probably 3/8, two place A with probably 2/3, and B with probably 1/3. Any questions about that? So let me show you. Yes. Huh?
So then, to find the turnover for the player, you solve the expected utility of the other player.
Yeah. So okay. So what's going on here? Look, I'm solving for P here. Okay. P is what person 1 randomizes. Yeah. Okay. Right. P is what probability of person 1's probability of playing A. Okay. But it's a little confusing because what utilities am I using to solve for P? Like, what are these numbers? The 0, the 7, the 3, and the 2. They're player 2s. Okay? So it seems a little non-intuitive to solve for person 1's action given person 2's strategies. This is about the person 2's payoffs. Okay? And the way to think about that is this. So is it clear why that's, I was going to say, is it clear why that's confusing? Okay. Is it? All right. I'm solving for P. This is P's action, but why am I using person 2's utilities? Yeah, because we have this interaction. Exactly. But what exactly is P? Okay, P is the point at which person 2 switches over from playing A to B. Okay. So this is person 2's best response, and it's going to be a function of what 1 does. You see? So 1 is P. This is how person 2 changes as P changes. Make sense? Okay, so we'll do a homework problem this relates to, but some people don't like mixed strategy equilibrium, Nash equilibrium for this reason. Some people really don't like mixed strategy. I think it's not so bad. It is a little long too. In other words, this is another way to think about it. Go back to the penalty kick example. I'll confuse you if you need more. Why am I? So in the penalty kick, what's happening? What do we predict in the penalty kick situation? What's the prediction? 50-50. Everybody's going 50-50. But why am I going 50-50? Okay, so like you're the keeper. Half the time you're going east, half the time you're going west. If I'm the striker, what should I do? I should do 50-50 too, but what if I go east all the time? Is that okay?
Half the time you're missing.
Huh? Yeah, half the time I'm missing, but I would half the time miss if I get 50-50, right? You see what I'm saying? If the goalie's going 50-50, it actually doesn't matter what I do, right? I'm going to get a half chance of, right? The goalie's going 50-50. If I do east all the time, I get 50-50. I'll win 50% of the time. If I go west all the time, goalie will cover half the time, so I'll win 50% of the time. So it actually doesn't matter what I do, right? You see what I'm saying? Yeah. What's the reason I go 50-50?
So that he can't also.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Go ahead. What are you saying? The reason I go 50-50 is not because it's in my interest. It's because if I did anything else, the goalie would then change. You see what I'm saying? That's the Nash equilibrium part. So I have no reason to go 50-50, but if I didn't do 50-50, the goalie would then change. So if I went 51 east, 49 east, sorry, 51 east, 49 west, the goalie would cover east all the time, then it would west, blah, 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 blah. You see? The only stable point is where we both go 50-50. All right. So let me show you the spreadsheets. I'm proud of myself because I did that one. Get it done this time. Okay.
You said you were gonna show us how to put our own numbers in? and
Yeah, I'll show you. I'll
use
show you
it?
right now. Okay, so this is my first. Do I make it bigger? I guess I'll make it bigger. Okay, so this is the very first thing. So this is person one's payoffs. Oh, I guess I don't know what to call these. These should be red. Oh, I guess no, they're okay. They're black. Are they blue? Maybe they're blue. I'll make them black. Sorry. Hold on.
They're blue.
They're blue, okay, I'm
That
sorry.
shows the 2A and 2B.
All right, we'll change it. Okay, all right. These are person one's payoffs. There we go. And person two's payouts are here, okay? So this is a penalty kick situation. And I just did, these numbers are just, if you look at that formula, you can either do it yourself or just trust me that that's the correct payoff, okay? So notice, this is exactly what I just reviewed, yeah? This is person one's payoff. So P equals 1, Q equals 1 means they both go east. This is where the goalie gets 1, yeah? P equals 1, Q equals 1, that's when the striker gets 0. Okay. So this is person one's payoffs, person one's payoffs. Okay. This is person one's best response with the stars. This is person two's best response with the lenses. Okay? This is exactly the same as this. Okay? Right? Do you see that? Right, the stars go like this, and the pluses go like that. Are you okay? Do you believe me? This should work. Okay. All right. So now, okay, so what's the really Nash equilibrium? It's a cell which is both red and blue. Okay, I couldn't figure out how to write this with 2 numbers in each cell, so that's why I had to do this separately. Okay, one second. All right. Now, the more complicated version is this. Okay, so can we see that? Okay, so these are my person one's payoffs, person two's payoffs. Now instead of just doing 1.50, I have this whole range. Yeah, this is P equals 1, P equals 0.95, P equals 0.9, etc. I have a whole range of P's, and Q is the whole range. This is kind of like that box diagram I did before. Yeah, and I made it so that so if Q equals 1, these are person one's payoffs. The biggest number is 1, right? If Q is 0.75, what's the biggest number here? Is that 0.75? Right? Now this is the thing we were talking about last time, which people were skeptical about. If Q equals 0.55, so this is where the striker's going east slightly more than west. If you're the goalie, what should you do? Which is the biggest number among here? You should go east all the time. Yes? Okay, so the striker's going east 55% of the time, west 45% of the time. If you're the goalie, what should you do? You should always go east all the time. Why? Why don't you go west all the time? Because the striker's going west 45% of the time. Why don't you go west sometimes? Yeah, no, still, it's the more likely they'll go east, yeah? Right? Anytime you go west, you're going to win 45% of the time. Anytime you go east, you'll win 55% of the time. Still 55% is bigger than 45, yeah? So you should cover east all the time, yeah? Similarly, if the goalie's going to go west slightly more often, you should cover west all the time. The only time you're exactly indifferent is when 50-50, or that's when this happens. Yeah?
I think the issue for me was that I don't understand the game. And I thought that there was degrees to east and west, and that
Oh, I
at
see,
some
right.
middle point, there would be a section where you'd be more likely to catch it if you were in the center.
Right.
Because they only want a degree this way or. a
You could
degree
model it
that
that way, but what we're doing is simply just a probability choice in east or west. It's just a start choice. Okay, anyway, so this is the person one's best responses. And these are person twos. So this is exactly the same as, where's my picture? This picture, okay? It's exactly the same as that picture. Okay? Now this is the fun part. So remember we calculated last time, we just did, this one. So let's see. What was it? 4, 0. I'm going to put the numbers in now. This is 4. What was it? 4, 0. 4, 0, 1, 6. Cool, right? You see this thing changes, okay? Right? What happened? Yeah, you can use this to do your homework. Why not? Okay, now how about what is the blue? 0, 3, 7, 2.
How come there's not a pink line in the middle though?
Okay, why is there no pink line in the middle? Is the question. Why is that? Oh.
It's some guys that's not.
Oh.
We're good.
Okay, great.
Because it's,
Why is there no pink line in the middle?
It's not, it has to be between us.
Yeah, exactly. What's, do you have a question? Yeah, what's it? Yeah, exactly. It's just because it's somewhere between 0.7 and 0.65. What was it? We found that Q was what? 2/3, right? So it's coming in there. So if you want to put 2/3 in there, I can change it. Okay, let me make that. Make this 0.666666667. Is it going to work? Oh, close. You see, these numbers are all close together. 2.67. It's not quite. Yeah. Okay. But it's in there somewhere. Okay. Let's see now. How about the blue part? Where was the blue part? There's no blue line. Why is that? Because P was found to be what? 5/8, which I think is what? 0.625 or something like that? Yeah. So it's it should be right here. Well, let's put 0.625 in there. Yay. You see that's the blue one. Okay? You see what we're doing? So the mixed Nash equilibrium is nothing more than just like a spreadsheet version just of a regular game, yeah? We're just making a larger spectrum of strategies. And we just take the original game and made it like a bigger game and just found the Nash. Okay? Any questions about that? Okay. So the spreadsheet's online. You can see it. You can see your work on it. Or just check your work. Okay. All right. Let's do our beautiful mind example. Okay, this is what we did last time. So one can either invite the blonde or invite the brunette. You can either invite the blonde or brunette. One invites the blonde, one gets 10. Okay, if they both invite the blonde, they kind of block each other. Make it a little number. If they both go for the brunette, that's not so bad. Okay. Are there Nash equilibria in this game? Pure strategy Nash equilibria? Yeah, what are they?
10, 1, and 1.
Yeah, exactly. Blonde, brunette, or brunette, blonde. Okay. So in this game, we have a clear prediction. Right? This is chicken. It's like there's going to be a hedge along, right? It's kind of like somebody will arm, somebody will not. Okay. But are there mixed strategy Nash equilibria in this game?
Sure.
Okay, there might be. Okay, let's check. So how do you want to do it? You can just look at this picture, or let's just use our computer now. Let's see if we can do that. Okay, -1. We put -1 and 10 here. Whoop. And then what was the next row? Was 1 and 2. And then this is going to be -1, 1. And then this is 10, 2. Okay. Oh, so this is our picture. We have the red thing going here like this, and the blue one going with this. Okay, so what are the Nash equilibria? How many are there? Well, what cells have red and blue.
There only one.
Well, there's one, right, which is kind of here, right? This one, yeah? I haven't figured out how to overlay them yet. But are there others? Yes.
There's gotta be.
How about what? Huh? There are two others. One up here, yeah? Right? And also one down here. Yeah? So what is this? This is where p equals 1, q equals 0. This is what?
This
This
is
is the
the
original.
original one.
Exactly right. This is the original Peer-Strategy-Nash equilibrium. Exactly right. And this is also the original Peer-Strategy-Nash equilibrium.
So what's that second one? then?
What is what?
What's the one that we first pointed out?
Oh, this
One,
right
one,
here?
two.
Yeah, that's also a mixed strategy Nash equilibrium. So this game, even though it has pure strategy Nash equilibrium, also has a mixed strategy Nash equilibrium too. So what is that number? I think p equals 0.8 and q equals 0.8. Okay, so if I do the picture this way, this, yeah, 0.8 is things for. You want me to do the math version of this? Yeah? Okay, let's do it. Okay. So we have, oh, it's this one. Where's the way? This is good. All right, so we have blonde, net, net. Okay, and then it's we go 1, negative 1, 1, 10, 2, 2. Okay, so put my P there. So now, how do I do it? Okay, I do my respective utility calculations. Okay, so how do I find the switch over Q? Okay. Let's say this. Person one's expected utility from playing blonde is what? Huh? Q times negative 1. Good. Yeah, plus 1 minus Q times 10. Why is that again? If I play blonde on person 1, I'm getting sometimes minus 1, sometimes getting a 10. I get minus 1 with probability Q, and I get 10 with probability 1 minus Q. What's my expected utility from playing brunette? Okay, if I play brunette, what numbers am I getting?
1.
1 or 2, right? I'm getting 1 with what probability? Q. And I'm getting 2 with what probability? 1 minus Q. Okay. How do I find a switch over Q? Set them equal. Okay, and somebody did this last time very quickly. Let's see, this is going to be what? Minus Q plus 10 minus 10Q. This is going to be Q plus 2 minus 2Q. So I get minus Q. I'll just simplify. This is going to be what? Minus 11Q plus 10 equals 2 minus Q. And so I get 8 equals 10Q. Q equals 8 over 10. Q equals 4 bits. Okay? This is what I had before, yeah. This checks out with the spreadsheet. Did you guys, are you okay with my math? I'm just doing that one. All right, how about person 2? I what person two, oh, it's blonde, right? So person two plays blonde, what are her numbers, or his numbers? What? -1 and 9 and 10, right? So, -1 he gets with what probability? It's over here. So 2 plays blonde, he gets -1 with what probability? P, and what? And 10 with probability 1 minus P. Person 2 plays brunette. Person 2 gets what? 1 with probability P, and 2 with probability 1 minus P. How do I find the switch over P? Set them equal. So we do minus P plus 10 minus 10P. This is going to be P plus 2 minus 2P. Set them equal to this is minus 11P plus 10 equals 2 minus P. 8 equals 10P. P equals 8/10 equals 4/5. Okay, so I think this is what we had before, right? It's the same as here. P equals 0.8, P equals 0.8. Okay, and what's the, let me write down, what's the answer? So if I write down all Nash equilibria, and one of them is what? If I write all of them. So what are the pure strategy Nash equilibria? 1 what?
110.
Yeah, blonde, brunette, yeah. Okay, blonde, brunette. Another one is what? Brunette, blonde, right? Okay. And finally, the mixed Nash equilibrium is what? I'll write it like this. 1 plays blonde with probability. What was playing blonde? Probability what? 0.8, right? Over 4/5. And brunette with probability. So if he's playing blonde with 4/5, brunette with probability what? 1/5. And then 2 plays blonde with probability. What? We solve for Q, right? Q is what? 4/5. So person 2 plays blonde with probably 4/5 and plays brunette with probably what? 1/5. Okay, so this is the full answer. Yeah. So I substitute the P's and Q's into my setup over there. Yeah. P is 4/5. So since yeah, P is 4/5. So person 1 plays blonde with 4/5. 1 minus 4/5 is 1/5. So person 1 plays red with 1/5. Okay. Yeah, just you just subtract from that. Any questions? All right. So you can do it like either the math way, the graphical way, or the spreadsheet way. It's all the same. Okay. Any questions about this? Okay. Okay. So we did this. So this is just literally what I wrote here again. Pure strategy Nash equilibrium, brunette, blonde, blonde, brunette. This is the mixed strategy Nash equilibrium. So to find mixed Nash equilibrium, I always have to write down the box diagram with the star and pluses. No. Okay, once you get used to it, you can simply calculate the tutorial problem. So you can just simply write down these equations and solve it. Okay. The reason I did the whole box diagram, the whole elaborate thing, is just to show again how the mixed strategy Nash equilibrium is just another kind of pure Nash equilibrium. It's nothing special. It's just a Nash equilibrium of the expanded game. Yeah.
In the midsummer, we don't have to draw a box diagram.
I guess if I ask you to, but you don't have to. The main thing is just to know these things. Yeah.
Can you go back one slide? I can't really see what you've on the chalkboard.
Oh, sure. Any questions? Yes.
How do you want us to format the final answer to the Nash equilibrium? Like just like that?
This is the ideal, yeah.
Okay.
So the reason why, sometimes people write P equals 4/5, Q equals 1/5. The reason that's a little confusing is, say, if I had done it instead of, if I did like 1 minus P and P here, in other words, I simply said a different P than you, then you would get a different answer just because of arbitrary reasons, see what I'm saying? But if you went like this way, it will always be the same. So, yeah.
Do you want us to write pure strategy strategy?
Yeah, so it doesn't matter, but if I ask you to all, if I find all Nash equilibrium, you just write all three of them down. And if you're just pure strategy, you would just pick those two and then bias for the next one. Yeah.
As with expected payoffs, unless you specify in a question that we have to find the expected payoffs, we don't actually have to calculate them after finding the mixed strategy, correct?
Oh, yeah, okay, so, yeah, you might ask, so after I find this, I might ask you, what is one's expected payoff, period, right?
From the mixed strategy.
From the mixed strategy Nash equilibrium, yeah, so I do that in one of the homeworks. I think maybe in the next homework there's something like
Yeah,
that.
it's not there in this homework
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, not in the current one, right?
Yeah.
But in the next one, so yeah, so we can talk about that. So what would one? So let's do this. Okay, one's playing this with 4/5, this with 1/5, yeah. Two's playing this with 4/5, this with 1/5. What is one's overall expected payoff? How would I calculate that?
You would multiply the probability with the payoff.
Right, exactly. So there's two ways to do it: an easy way and a hard way, not the other. What's the so if this is 4/5, 1/5, 4/5, 1/5. What's the probability of this occurring? This is actually going to both go for blonde.
I think it's a good probability.
It's
That's what I was
relatively
gonna
high.
ask.
Yeah, yeah. So one's playing 4/5, this one 4/5, this one 4/5. So what's the probability of this happening? 16 over 25, right? Those two probabilities multiply, right? So I can take -1 times 16 over 25 plus 10 times what? What's the probability of this occurring? 4 out of 25,
39.
right? You see what I'm doing? Yeah? And you could do it that way. There's an easier way, which is that we actually already calculated a lot of it already. Okay, so notice we calculated the mixed Nash equilibrium so that my expected utility from playing blonde and from brunette are equal, or the same, yes? Okay, so if I get the same expected utility from playing blonde or brunette, then it doesn't matter how often I do blonde or brunette, I get the same either way. Okay, so let's just calculate it. So I found, we said, what was Q again? Q is 4/5, right? Okay. So if I substitute Q equals 4/5 in here, what do I get? This is going to be what? 10 minus 11, 10 minus 11 Q. So if Q is 4/5, it's just 10 minus 11 times 4/5, which is going to be what? 50 over 5 minus 44 over 5. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, this is going to be what? That's my expected utility from playing blonde. Yeah?
Is
When
it
Q
always
goes-
just the remainder from 1? Couldn't we have just said 1 minus 4/5?
No, it's okay. Okay, so that's the expected utility from playing blonde. Sorry. What's the expected utility from playing brunette? And I'll substitute it in here. This is going to be 4/5 plus 2 minus 2 times 4/5. This is going to be what? 4/5 plus 10/5. That's 2, right? Minus 8/5. That number's going to be what? 6/5. That's so my expected utility from playing brunette. Is it an accident that the 6/5 and the 6/5 are the same? No, because that's how we solve for the Q, yes? Okay, so if my expected utility from playing blonde is 6/5, my expected utility from playing brunette is 6/5, what's my overall expected utility from doing the entire game? 6/5, yeah? So you can do it sort of, you could do it the hard way, which is look at all 4 possible things, that would work, or you just do it with the math you already did.
So after you multiply all 4 things and you get 6 by 5,
Yeah.
how do you correlate that with the rest of the strategies to see if it's better or worse.
Oh, no, then it's the end.
Or does it-
So that's simply the payoffs in that cell, okay? So what,
That, it's gonna be the overall payoff, correct? Because when you multiply, say, -1 into 1 by 5 into 4 by 5, and so on and so forth, and you get 6 by 5 as the final number, that's the last answer you
yeah, that's it. So let me see. Let me see if we did it here. Yeah. 1.2, that's 6 divided by 5. Right? And so you're saying, how do I have to go back and check, like, that this is the best response and all this stuff? No, that's what all this stuff is for. We didn't have to do, you don't have to go back and check or anything like that, unless you really want to. But this is what, yeah.
Can you re-clarify what the value 650?
What does it mean? Okay, this is what person one gets out of the whole thing. So like, what is the expected utility from playing the game? Just like you expect the utility of playing the penalty kick game is what? No. What's the expected utility of playing a penalty kick game? It's 1/2, right? Half the time you will win. Yeah. And this is not check what I'm getting for. So it's just that in the overall thing I'm getting.
How does the forfeits correlate with each other?
That's
Huh?
it.
The forfeits in relation to the season?
What is, oh,
In data.
I just stick the 4/5 into here. So this is the expected utility for person one playing blonde. And I set it equal to this to solve for Q equals 4/5. And then this is. Go ahead.
So we'll make our box diagram, like, I really don't understand, so do we like make an interval of 5, to equal 5/5? Like, so make that be 1, use our box diagram, so like, do the stars roll the axis like that?
Yeah, I mean, the box diagram is the same as the spreadsheet. So if you understand spreadsheet, you can do the boxes, etc. But the box is not meant to be an actual computational box. It's just supposed to show you where the Nash equilibrium are. I guess it's the idea. We can talk about that. Yeah? Uh-huh.
So if his expected utility in playing the game was 4/5, he wouldn't have played. And he's playing because it's 6/5, and when it goes down to 4/5, that's why he's.
No. 4/5 is his probability of playing blonde. It's not a payoff.
Oh.
Okay? So it's and also, there's no choice of whether to play the game or not. His only choices are blonde versus brunette. Any other questions? Yeah.
Doesn't the number 6 over 5 suggest that there's always going to be a positive outcome for that one?
Well, I mean, it'll be,
I was thinking by
not always,
expected
well,
utility.
what do you mean always? So, for example, is it possible that one will inherit that -1?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. It'll happen with fairly large probability, actually, right? 16 over 25, right? It's possible that they'll both end up. But overall, the person one's payoff is 6. Any questions? Those are good questions. Anything? All right. Any questions? Okay, so when you do the problems, you can do it again any way you want to. Do the math way or the spreadsheet or something. Any way is fine. Okay. All right. Oh, by the way, someone said that. So remember, this is chicken. This is exactly the same as chicken. Going for the blonde is the same as like both army or both going straight. So our original conclusion was that there will be a hegemon, right? There will be a winner and a loser. So in other words, one person will swerve and one person will go straight, etc. In this mixed strategy Nash equilibrium, actually with some probability they're getting the -1, -1. Right? With some probability they're both going straight, with some probability they're both arming and catastrophe results. Okay. So some people really don't like mixed strategy Nash equilibrium for this reason. Okay, people, yeah. So in other words, maybe mixed strategy Nash equilibrium makes sense in like a penalty kick situation where it seems like obvious they would randomize. In this, in the chicken game, it doesn't seem obvious at all why they should randomize, so to speak. But still, there still exists a mixed strategy Nash equilibrium.
How about the probability that they'll both choose brunettes? Where is that?
Okay, so we calculated their probability of blondes 4/5, brunettes 1/5, right? So probability if this is 4/5, this is 1/5. And then therefore, what's the probability they both choose brunette?
2
Oh, 1/5 times 1/5. Yeah.
So 1 out of 25,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
that's the least likely thing to happen.
Yeah, this.
So why wouldn't I always choose blonde, counting on you to occasionally choose brunette, thereby increasing my odds, my blonde?
Okay, so I'm so glad I have the spreadsheet because I answer questions like that. Okay, so look, we say that in the mixed Nash equilibrium we're playing this 1.2, 1.2, right? We're here. Okay, so notice that if you're playing blonde with probably 4/5 and brunette with 1/5, it doesn't matter what I do, right? I'm getting 1.2 throughout, I'm indifferent. It makes sense because if I'm randomizing, I'm going to be randomizing over things I'm indifferent about, right? I wouldn't randomize over something I'm not indifferent about, right? If there were some things I'm not indifferent about, I would not randomize. I would just choose a thing which is better for me, right? Okay, so all these are the same, right? If you're randomizing 4/5, 1/5, I don't have to randomize. No matter what I do, I'll get the same 1.2. But why do I randomize? Is because if I did something different, then you would deviate, right? And then it would not be a Nash equilibrium. You got questions? Okay. Again, some people don't like mixed Nash equilibrium for this reason. But sometimes, like in the penalty kick example, I think it makes a lot of sense. Okay. All right, again, find mixed Nash equilibrium. Do I always have to write down the box diagram? No. Once you get used to it, you can simply just do this math here and here. That's all you need to do. And the point of the box diagram is that mixed strategy Nash equilibrium are just regular Nash equilibrium of the game once expanded to include randomized strategies. So going back, we know how to write down a strategic form game or table. How do we make a prediction? We have basically two ways, maybe three. What's the first way? Iterative elimination of targeting strategies. Okay. Why was this not enough? Well, there's arbitrariness and also, but the main reason is what? Yeah, you don't always have dominance. Sometimes there's nothing you can say. So therefore, what do we do? Nash equilibrium. Was this enough pure strategy Nash equilibrium? No, why not? Because sometimes there's no pure strategy Nash equilibrium. So then we did mixed strategy Nash equilibrium. Are we done? No? It turns out, yes, we are done. We are in fact done. Okay, that is an any strategic form game. That is any table. Think of some huge table with 20 players, each one choosing 10 strategies, some really, really large thing. Okay? In any strategic form game, there's at least one pure strategy or mixed strategy Nash equilibrium. So in this sense, we're done. In this sense, we're always able to make some prediction, okay, in any game. Okay? Okay, and this is something John Nash proved. This is why he got a medal which you can auction off at Sotheby's for $4 million. Something. Okay, so we're done. This is nice. So you kind of have a nice tool. So any situation you're in, you can take another class or a life situation, you can say, hey, I'm going to think about this as a game, figure out who the players are, figure out their actions, find Nash equilibrium. I can always do that. I can always make a prediction, anywhere, in any situation. Okay, so it's kind of like a universal tool. So we are done. We know how to write down a general model, the strategic form game, which can be applied to a wide variety of situations and make a prediction. So the end. So this is like the end of one little section of our class. All right? Yay. now we're going to level up. Okay. However, so any questions about this? We're at the end of this little, yeah.
There would not the mixed Nash equilibrium work on all three of them? Does it matter that it won't work if iterative elimination works, or is it because it's not necessary to look at the level?
So
I mean, this percentage increase in steps, or this doesn't work.
right. No, but sometimes the first one will work. You don't have to do anything. Like if you can solve it through, if you can find one thing through, like iterative elimination or strategies, if find one thing, that's fine. Yeah.
You don't have to do that, but it would work. I could step right to that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. Just this is kind of like in the homework. There's the battleship one. Did you guys see that one yet? So there's something where it's like battleship with 5 places. You know what I'm talking about? So you can eliminate a lot of stuff that we good on these strategies, and then find the mixed Nash equilibrium the remaining game 2x2 game. Okay. But you don't have to do that. You could just do the mixed Nash equilibrium the whole thing. kind of complicated. Any questions? All right, so we're ready to go on? Okay. All right. So, one thing which we kind of talked about already. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I have one question. What if there are more than 2 options when you're trying to
Oh,
solve?
yeah. Okay, somebody asked about this too. Somebody asked about this? So, okay, so say that I have a game like, well, just like that, like rock, paper, scissors. So I said, this is 0, 0. Okay, rock beats paper, right? No, paper beats rock. That's wrong. Rock beats scissors. Paper beats rock. Paper loses to scissors. Scissors loses to rock. Okay, so this is my rock, paper, scissors game. What do you think actually people do in this game, by the way? Do they always do rock all the time? No, what do you do? You're randomized. It is a mixed strategy equilibrium. What do you think the mixed strategy equilibrium is? It's a third, a third, a third. Okay? All right, so do you want to check why that is? If I go a third, a third, a third, so okay, so say that person 2 is playing a third, a third, a third. If I play rock, what's my expected utility? I get 0 sometimes, -1 sometimes, or 1 sometimes, yes? I get 0 with what probability? 1/3. I get -1 with probability 1/3. 1 with probably 1/3. So my expected utility is 0, right? 0 plus 1/3 times what? Times -1. What if what's my expected utility if I play paper? Also 0, right? What's my expected utility if I play scissors? 0. So, is it the best response for me to randomize the third, a third, a third between rock, paper, scissors? Yes. Okay, so it is going to be a mixed match equilibrium. So this is 1. Any questions about that? But how do you solve it in general, right? So say, for example, this is like a 4. Okay, now what do you do? Okay. Well, what do you do? So what you end up doing is you do this. Okay, so before I did like p and 1 minus p, right? Can I do that this time? No, I need to do something like p sub r, which is like my probability of playing rock, and then p sub p, which is my probability of playing paper, and then maybe this is like what? 1 minus of those things together. Okay, then I'm going to solve some equations and stuff. Is this going to be an easy situation? No. Okay, so therefore, in general, people try to stay away from solving for mixed match equilibrium in anything other than the simplest possible case. Okay, so in anything but the 2x2 game, we generally don't solve it. Okay, and the only time you do is when the problem is simple enough so that you can add more structure to it. Okay, yeah.
So what Gucci thing is gonna?
Oh, that's a good question. That's okay. Anyway, so this is 2 persons with 2 people with 3 strategies each. The Patagucci thing is 3 people with 2 strategies each. Right? So that'll also be complicated. There was one time I put it on a midterm and people got really mad at me for doing that. But you can find it's like 2003, 2004, something like that. There is one case where I asked people to do it. We could do it once. Anyway, so you can go look at the old midterms. There are some little curveballs every once in a while. Oh, we'll do it. We can do it. Anyway, all these are questions. You want to say, like, why would you do such a thing? It's because it can test knowledge. In that exam, like maybe 10% of people got the question right. Okay, but that's okay. Yeah. I want to find those people and reward them. Okay. Any questions? Okay. All right, we're okay? Okay. So we'll talk about more and more of this stuff in the future. We have 2 weeks and 2 days before the midterm. So yes. Okay, let's go on. So notice that in a strategic form game, it's a universal theory. If you know this, if you know all the stuff we just did, you know more game theory than like 2/3 of people in my department. You know a lot of game theory. Okay. The next step is this. Notice in a strategic form game, you know, implicitly assume that each person chooses independently. That is, I choose rock, paper, scissors. I don't get to see you doing rock, paper, scissors. It's like we choose either Normandy or clay. I don't get to like see, oh, you chose clay, therefore I'm going to do something else. Okay? Because people choose simultaneously, they don't kind of respond to each other. Okay. Because when choosing your actions, you cannot respond to the actions of others. In other words, people choose their actions simultaneously. Okay. But however, in many situations, like chess, tic-tac-toe, international relations, whatever, you can respond to the actions of others. That is, you can see an action someone made and respond to it. That is, people move in sequence. Okay, so to model these, we use a different model. Before we had a table, so-called strategic form games. This is called extensive form games. In other words, trees. So there's basically two kinds of models, tables and trees. The model we use an extensive form game. This is what we're going to talk about for next week. Can I go ahead?
Notice the trees and they look like probability trees to me.
Yeah, exactly. So, have you seen decision trees, the probability trees? It's all the same kind of thing. Okay, are we okay? Okay. All right, so the main idea, let me just tell you what the main ideas are going to be. The first one is a new concept called subgame perfection. So I'm just going to tell you, you don't have to understand it right away, I don't expect you to, I'll explain it to you. So the first idea is a Nash equilibrium is subgame perfect if in every subgame people's actions correspond to a Nash equilibrium in that subgame. So you might say, what the heck are you talking about? I haven't defined any stuff that's true. I'll simply say this is what we're going to study. So we're going to talk about Nash equilibria. Some of them are subgame perfect, some aren't. Okay, that's the one main idea. And the second main idea is going to be, what is a strategy? Okay. The main idea here is to specify first a strategy. You have to write down an arrow from all of our nodes. So again, I don't expect you to understand this right now, but these are just letting you know what we're trying to accomplish. We'll probably get to talk about one a little bit today. Okay. In other words, a strategy is a complete contingent plan. Okay. Let me know, you ready? There's this research that says that taking notes by hand is better for retention than on computers. Have you heard of this stuff? Do you find that's the case?
Yeah.
No? How many people find that yes, that's the case? How many people don't think it's true?
What they go and read.
How many people learn best from watching YouTube videos? Interesting. Do you think there's a correlation between like that? Like if you just, no? Like if you like YouTube videos, you also don't care about writing?
I don't think so.
No? You don't think it's a correlation? Interesting. Can I go ahead?
I don't know.
Huh?
It's a node.
A node, I'll tell you in a second. Okay, so I'll motivate this all with an example. How many people go over the screencasts? I'm just curious. Is it helpful to go over it? Really? But there's a big gap, like when I do things on the board, you can't see that, right? Yeah. Right. Okay, I'll try to, we can do another camera thing. Okay, kidnapping. A kidnapper can either kidnap or not. If the kidnapper kidnaps, then the family can either pay the ransom or not. Okay? It's a pretty simple situation. How do I model this? Okay? Yeah.
The first thing would be the kidnapper deciding.
Exactly. The kidnapper first makes a move. So this is the so-called node. That's like a little dot. That's what I call a node. It's a node in a tree. So the kidnapper can either make little branches from that node, kidnap, or not. You may have two branches. So the kidnapper can either play kidnap or not. Okay. What's the next step? Parents, yeah, exactly. So what are the parents going to do?
There's no response to that.
Okay, so if there's no, nothing, if here it's like nothing, but parents get to make a decision here, yeah? So I'm gonna make a little node, that's a family's decision node. And the family either decides what? Pay or not, right? Can either pay the ransom or not. Okay, does that make sense? So we sort of start here and work our way in time. So time progresses from left to right in this case. Okay, there's something we haven't filled in yet, which is what?
Values.
The values, yeah, what? Yeah, payoffs, yeah. So let's write down the payoffs. What happens if the kidnapper doesn't kidnap? 0, 0. Yeah? So nothing happens. All right. What happens if the kidnapper kidnaps and the family doesn't pay?
0.
Well,
Okay.
that's gonna be.
This is
that-
really bad for the
kidnapper
It's really negative. It's really bad for the family, but also for the kidnapper. It's not so great, right?
But is there a probability where it pays off for the family, no Gibson and ransom?
Oh yeah, exactly. I should. I just call this what? This is bad for the family, but also not great for the kidnapper, right? You go to all this trouble kidnapping somebody, they don't get your money, and then you take this legal risk. Okay.
Wait, why is it a 0 for the kidnapper not kidnapping the kid with the family?
Oh, this is like, so this is what a kidnapper doesn't do anything. 0.
So like doesn't change.
Yeah, I guess. It doesn't change your. Yeah.
Okay, notation question. So is
Uh-huh.
the first player always going to be the first comment?
Yeah, usually. Yeah. So yeah, it's a really good question. This is player 1. Just like the usual convention before is player 1 is the role player. Here, this first number usually corresponds to the person who is the first node. So we call kidnapper player 1. Family would be player 2. Finally, what about here? What's the payoffs here say for the kidnapper? 100. Yeah, that's a good thing. How about for the family?
Well, that's still
Negative
negative.
5. It's still negative. It's not
But
as
not
bad
as
as 100.
bad.
Yeah, exactly right. So I do this 10 negative 20. Yeah? Kidnapper gets some money out of it. Family doesn't like it as much, but it's still better than losing their family member. Okay. This is under the assumption that your family actually likes you. Okay, so this is a game. Okay, it starts with, it's an extensive form game, a so-called tree. It looks like a tree starts with a node and has branches. Okay, so here's again. An extensive form game has so-called decision nodes, these little dots. They're labeled with the person who chooses. So this dot to be labeled with kidnapper means the kidnapper gets to choose at this dot. The family gets to choose at that dot. It also has branches from each decision node labeled by the possible choices at that node. So the kidnapper here has 2 choices, either kidnap or not. The family can either here pay or not. And finally, it has so-called terminal nodes. Terminal nodes because that's when the game ends. And at these end nodes, you write down the payoffs. So this is what an extensive form game is. How many people find the best way to learn is by doing the homework problems? Oh, good. Okay, yes. That's really the best. I find that the best way to learn is to actually work with it. Any questions? Should we go on? No. So, there's this research about people will sometimes insert a random joke in, and then students will always remember the jokes more than the material. So in theory, you should, like, every single lecture you should have some joke which is perfectly timed to make people remember that. And I kind of, to be honest, I kind of try to do that. So like, well, for example, the movie clips, for example, like, so to me, I think of strictly ballroom as iterative elimination of dominating strategies. That to me are equal. Remember, because that's a case where the father claps all the time, and given that Eureka Yaya clap, remember, so that's when we first introduced that, right? Okay. To me, when I think Princess Dilemma, I think of that movie thing with Ryan Gosling, yeah? So I kind of have these little associations. Yeah. When I think about Nash Equilibrium, I do not think about that clip with Russell Crowe in there. That's just wrong. Okay. All right. Okay, any questions? Have you know this show, The Magic School Bus? Yeah. So, every new episode, she wears a dress which then relates to the material. I think, again, in theory, you could like wear clothing which relates to that religious theme. People really remember it. Okay, anyway, how do I make prediction in this game? Okay, how do I make a prediction? What's going to happen? Strong domination? Well, hold on. Yeah, so for example, do you think the kidnapper is a kidnapper or not? Probably. No, what will the family do? Okay, I think that's probably what's going to happen. Well, let's see. Why don't we just use what we've done before? That is, to make a prediction, let's try to turn it into something we know. That is a strategic form game or table. All right. So, if I were to turn this into a strategic form game or table, what are my first step? Players. Who are the players? Kidnapper and family. What's the second step? The alternatives, right? What are the kidnappers' alternatives? Kidnapper not. The family's alternatives are here or not. Okay. So I have this. Oh, I played these things already. These are the payouts. Where did I get this from? Okay. If the kidnapper doesn't kidnap, obviously we'll have 0-0, right? It doesn't matter then what the family does. Yeah? If the kidnapper kidnaps and the family pays, then we end up there, right? Kidnapper kidnaps and the family pays, we end up with 10 minus 20. If the kidnapper kidnaps and the family doesn't pay, we end up with a minus 5 minus 100.
Sorry, Nash, he was kidnapped.
Okay. Any questions? You might ask, why do I do this if thing? Okay, and it turns out to have a reason for that, which I'll go to later. So this is the family's strategy is if kidnap, pay, if kidnap, not. So I turn this tree, which is new, into something which I'm well familiar with, I use this table. What's the prediction in this table? Kidnap pay? Let's see, let's do Nash Equilibrium. What do you think? Okay, shall we do that? Okay. If the family pays this, but it pays, what is the kidnapper going to do? Kidnap, because 10 is better than 0. Huh? If the family doesn't pay, what's the kidnapper going to do? Not, right? Why would the kidnapper go to the trouble if the family doesn't pay?
But that's beyond his point of making the choice. His choice is kidnap or not. He doesn't know what the family's going to do.
In Nash Equilibrium, you assume you do, right? In Nash Equilibrium, you assume you know what the other person does, so you can best respond to it. What if one kidnaps? What is the family going to do? Anyway, because minus 20 is better than minus 100. And if the kidnapper doesn't kidnap, what is the family going to do? Either way is fine. Either way, okay, ties for first place. Okay. All right. What's the prediction here? How many Nash Equilibrium do we have?
2.
Right? We have this one. Kidnap if kidnap pay. And this is what most people predicted. But we also have this other one, which the kidnapper doesn't do anything, and the family doesn't pay. The family says, "Go for it. Take our kids. We're not going to pay you anything." And the kidnapper says, "Okay, if you feel that way, I'm not going to do that." Okay, makes sense. It's a Nash Equilibrium, yeah.
Why is the bottom left not Nash?
Oh, this one here.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's check the definition. From here, can anyone gain by deviating? So, yeah, if you who would want to gain by deviating? Yeah, kidnapping and gain. Any questions? Yeah.
For the not one to 0-0,
Uh-huh.
what we just talked about, if the kidnapper has can gain by kidnapping. If the family makes it clear that they're not gonna pay regardless,
Right.
wouldn't the tree factor that in because you're basing it off other decisions?
Okay, yeah, so,
Wouldn't you just choose some different?
it's kind of like, yeah, exactly, it was kind of like, so the question is kind of like, we're saying the family's not going to pay, right? That is, the family's gonna pay here. So the kind of question is, how does the kidnapper even know that, right?
Yeah.
So, the assumption kind of is a Nash equilibrium. I'm best responding to you, you're best responding to me, so I kind of have to assume that I know what you're doing, you know what I'm doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
You could do that, you could change the table and make the family, the first player, in
Yeah.
a rich family, make it known that they
Yeah,
have no intention of
exactly.
paying if anybody chooses.
Exactly, we're actually gonna do example one. Okay, anyway. Is it clear what we did? We had a tree, turn the table, find two Nash equilibria. Okay? Do these net equilibria though, do they, yeah,
Why do you have to use the tree? You can just put it in the sushi formula.
that's a good question too. Why don't we just start here? Okay, and the reason is the following. Do both these Nash equilibria make sense to you?
No.
Equal sense?
Yeah.
Do you think that so when I asked people to predict, most people predicted this, they didn't predict this, right? So there must be some sort of a difference between these. These are both Nash equilibria, but somehow this is a little sketchier. Sketch compared to this one, right? Makes sense?
Yeah, but you don't see that one in the tree, but you see it in the table, so I feel like it's more helpful to use the table.
Yeah, exactly. So the reason why the tree is useful is because with the tree I can make the distinction between these two Nash equilibria. In a way I'll make clear in a second. If I just gave you this, then you won't be able to use this criterion, which I'm going to say in a second. Okay? That's the criterion of subgame perfection. Okay, so I can just sell it to you in a second. So the way it works is basically, in this one, the family pays, right? In this one, the family is kind of doing something non-credible. It says, if you kidnap my kid, I'm not going to pay you. Okay? That is in a Nash equilibrium, however, it's not a credible thing to say. Okay? So that credibility issue is something like a represent in a tree, but not in the table.
How do we know that in a tree? Like, how do we?
We're going to talk about it. We'll talk about it in a second. Well, that's exactly what we're going to do. Okay. Right. We could invent game theory. This class could invent game theory all by itself. Yeah.
When he chooses to kidnap though, he does know there's a possibility that they won't pay, so he's making it hard.
So again, if you're going with Nash equilibrium, you have to assume that each person knows what the other person is doing, and that person is doing it, period. But you're right, there are other concepts in which involve, I think you're going to play this Nash equilibrium, maybe you'll do something crazy, like probably 1% or something, then that'll affect you. So that's actually that's another concept in game theory. Okay, anyway, how much time do we have?
3 minutes.
All right, so this is the idea. I'll start the explanation. The idea as quickly as this, okay? This is the Nash equilibrium where kidnapper kidnaps, the family pays, okay? So the idea is, I can write it as arrows like that, okay? Makes sense? Okay. The other Nash equilibrium is where the kidnapper doesn't pay and the family doesn't pay too. And so the interesting part about it is this. Okay? If I were to show you this game in itself, let's forget about this part, that is this game, is the family paying a Nash equilibrium in this subgame? It's like a so-called subgame, it's part of the game. Does this make sense to you, the family doing this here?
Yes.
Yes. Right? Because the family is choosing -20 over -20. Right? How about this? This is a Nash equilibrium with a larger game. However, if I focus in on just this part, is the family doing something which makes sense to you? No, right? The family's choosing -100 over -20. That doesn't make sense. So that's the criterion which we're going to use. Okay, we're going to look. That's why you need the tree too. We're going to look at subgames and check whether the play corresponds to Nash equilibrium in each subgame. So that's the thing.
The girl was telling the truth about where you sit.
worst thing is probably to lie and the other person already choose lies. That's an unpleasant thing. The thing is, that's the other thing is, well, kind of, but it sustained that lie for a while, right? I don't know, I think it's just, if everyone lies, then, I'll just tell you what I think is going on. I think if everyone lies, that's the best thing for the girls. However, if one person starts telling the truth, then it's really bad for people who lie. So they kind of have to coordinate on everyone lying in the same story. That's what I would say. But and then all telling the truth is kind of in the middle. Like, if also the truth is like not bad but not terrible. But the worst thing is if you lie and everyone else tells the truth because that's kind of obvious that. Well, no. Technically, it's just every little. It's all these things. It's just a subgame, just any part, any subpart of this tree. So it's like some other trees, I can think of this as a game just started here. So that's the subgame.
So if this had 4, there would be 4 subgames.
Yeah. Yeah, so give us 2 subgames, please.
Okay, so the main game is the goalie, EW, and everything beyond that is going to be a subgame.
I emailed you like a week back.
Oh, yeah.
My enrollment said so that I can have this sheet. So I would just.
Who's the citizen?
18th. Yeah. Alright, cool. Thank you.
A lot.
I just have a quick question about homework. On the second problem, I talked about the girls.
Oh, right.
When we set up the game with the options of them, is there like a best ways made it up or to go
I have a question about my first question is whether or not it's prisoner rule. I feel like it is because if one of the girls, because it's 3 girls, so I wasn't sure if I should make it a 3-person problem, so I made it 2 because really only one girl was supposedly attacked, the other girl, the second girl got attacked, was like doing the story challenge. So like my theory was like if they both tell, if they don't both just skip the story, like, and they both